Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Boxcar Tales. I am Ross, joined by...
Oh.
Just Saul? You have
Yeah,
your...
they just be Saul.
If you were watching, or if you're listening to the audio version and not watching a video version of this, Saul has his train conductor hat on.
Yes.
I'm very jealous that I do not have one.
Yeah. You do.
Well, I gotta get it. I don't physically have it.
You just have to tell me, Saul, I'm coming to get it, or Saul, bring it over to me.
Yeah,
you won't have it.
Well, I might try, because we might be going to a restaurant in your guys' area. So if you
I thought you was getting ready to say wrestling bar. I don't know why I thought you was getting ready to say that.
That would be the most unsufferable place. Everybody would just be angry about everything.
Yes.
The wrestling fans are very angry.
Yes.
We talked about that for a long time on another show, and it actually feels good to not have to look into some of the stuff that we did, because man, it is such a negative environment. Holy crap.
I believe the word is called very toxic people.
And I think that's a legitimate thing, for sure. But yeah, so if you're around, I might hit you up later and get that hat, and then just wear it all day for the rest, forever. I'll just staple it onto my head. So how's your week been?
I was attacked by a bat, which I will go in further detail in one of our episodes.
Right.
It was hot. Other than that, really nothing else. It was steamy.
Stevie, yeah, it was humid. I'm trying to think. I haven't really had anything too horribly exciting happen this week.
Yeah.
Work's crazy. So we gotta strip, think of a school floor. You gotta strip it and re-wax it and stuff like that. And actually, this is a story that happened. So if you had, let's say, well, schedules are going to change on this date and time. So there's a certain date that you're kind of thinking that that's when it's going to be. And then you had a certain amount of work to do that you had paced out for that amount of time. And then someone comes and says, hey, you're going to lose an entire week. That would be a stressful situation, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So then you spend the rest of that day trying to figure out how you're going to cram an extra week of work into a shorter time frame. And then the next day, or a day later, the person comes back and be like, oh, well, that's not actually what I meant. That's not really happening. So you've just had 2 days of, killing yourself trying to figure out how you're going to fit an extra week. So if anyone listens to this and you're in management, please remind yourself how important communication is. Don't give half the information and then later be like, oh, yeah, I forgot about this other part. This actually doesn't ruin everything.
Sure. Imagine that communication in the workplace.
I am convinced that management people either purposely do really dumb things with communication, or they genuinely are having the exact same issue where the communication they're getting is not very good, but they're told, hey, go tell these people this. And then they're like, are you sure? Because that seems like a really bad idea, but all right, I guess that's what I got to do. And then they later get told more, and they're like, I wish you would have told me that before I told everybody this. I've seen it places. I know it happens, but man. So anyone who has work where, you're getting stupid communication that just completely makes your life more difficult, and then you get further communication that you realize it was all unnecessary. I sound like I'm describing probably 80% of jobs in the world.
Yes. You are.
Yeah. So let's see. So that's the only thing I had. But yeah, stripping and waxing floors is kind of like power washing, where it's like, man, this floor is just,
Rain is coming.
We're going. So our actual topic then is going to be the psychopath thing.
Yes.
So now
you get the.
So there's a online test.
There is an online test from I'm trying to think. I don't want to call him a shrink. because that's the negative term for it. But
Wait, a
what?
shrink? Like
Yeah,
instead of a psychiatrist?
yeah. Isn't calling someone a shrink that kind of a negative term for that profession?
Hold on. I really don't know. Is shrink a derogatory term? The word shrink is slang for a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Like the word shark. What? A shark is slang for lawyer. The word shrink has negative connotations.
There you go.
Oh, head shrinker. Oh. Well, I apologize. I never tied the two together. Like it never occurred to me that that was a negative. I just thought
Yeah,
it
I
was
did.
like I thought it was slang, but not like a negative slang. So
Yeah,
huh.
I thought it was somebody. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, I will
Don't.
going forward. I will not be calling a psychologist or whatever a shrink.
There you go.
The more you know.
So psychopath test.
Yeah.
Is Ross a psychopath? Are you ready?
All right. So you're going to administer the test.
Yes, I'm going
All right.
to ask you these
I
questions.
have a question before we get started.
Yep.
Is psychopath spelled P-Y-S or does it have the H?
So it's Psychopathy.
Okay. I'm
Yep.
really not good at the spelling of that word. Anything with P-S-Y in the beginning
Yeah.
just wrecks me. Okay. So on to the test.
All right. Most would describe me as charming or nonchalant.
Nonchalant.
No, that's the word. Nonchalant. Can I turn my charm on and off like a faucet? Not me. This describes me somewhat. This is definitely me.
I would say not me.
Okay.
I would say.
Question.
Oh, wait.
Oh, go ahead.
I figure we should have some debate. I don't know how long this test is, but
It's not.
okay. So the yeah, I would more imagine people would see me as kind of like a brick, where it's
Okay.
like oh well, that's pretty straightforward. Like there's not like I'm not trying to charm people into doing things.
Okay. Just down. Frost is not charming. Okay.
Yeah.
If something goes wrong or turns out badly, it is not my fault. Not me. This describes me somewhat. This is definitely me.
That would have to be somewhat.
Okay.
The just because in general I could take accountability, but there are
Yeah.
times where you see something goes wrong and it's like, no, this is definitely not my fault. Like you just know, like,
Well,
no,
I
that
think
wasn't
it's
me.
I think it's human nature though. I think we all of us are like that. No, it's not my fault.
Now there is a like trying to think. I don't think this was talked about in a long time ago either, but so growing up, like my actual mother, very victim complex type lady, where
Yeah.
anything that went wrong, like she could shut her hand in a door, and it's someone else's fault because if you wouldn't have done this, I wouldn't have done this kind of thing. So the I've been around like that, and that was actually like a bad flaw of mine for a long time. And then like in my early 20s, I realized that I was doing it,
Yeah.
and it was one of the hardest things I had to break, like that mental cycle of
Yeah.
oh man, I just dropped this, I dropped a cup with water in it. Well, I wouldn't have dropped that if this wouldn't have like like
Sure.
you actually you realize that you are in fact like just crazy.
I think they call that the victim mentality.
Yeah, I would say so. Like it's very easy though because nothing's your fault, so you're never wrong.
All right,
Okay.
you ready for question number 3?
Yes.
I've gotten into legal or criminal trouble as an adult, not just speeding tickets or parking tickets or criminal. That's how they word it.
Yeah.
So not me. This describes me somewhat. This is definitely me.
No, I have never had that.
Ross is not a criminal. Gotcha.
Or what would be funny if I was like I just admitted to like some insane crime and then the show
there was
never
that
aired
time,
because you're
man.
like, wait a minute.
There was that time in El Paso that I robbed that bank.
Now, I have had, trying to think of the best way to explain this. I've had, like, and I'm not using dreams as like a euphemism, like these were really dreams, but I've had dreams where I've, like, committed crimes.
Yeah.
Like, the worst was I robbed a bank, driving a white van, and I shot somebody with a shotgun.
Yeah.
And then I was serving a prison sentence, and I was, like, years into the sentence in my dream, so that when I woke up, it felt like years had passed. For, like, you know, like when you first wake up from, like, a detailed dream, it takes a while to fade.
Yeah.
It was like that. And then I had dreams that I found a this would argue for the psychopath, perhaps, where for some reason I found a dead body and I was worried I was going to get in trouble by finding it, so I buried it in the backyard.
Okay.
And so even though I wasn't, like, the murderer in this case, I was constantly worried about someone finding the body. Like,
well, now you technically are a part of the crime because you.
Well, yeah, because but like the whole thing, like, again, it's like dream logic, because it's like, oh, if I don't do this, my dad Abraham Lincoln's going to be mad at me, that kind of stuff. But the so in that sense, I have committed crimes in my dreams in Minecraft.
Sure. All right. So number 4 here. I'm easily the best at what I do, bar none. No one could ever take my place. I already know the answer to this.
So I am Wolverine.
Yes.
Being the best at what I do.
Yes. So not me. This surprised me somewhat.
Oh, that's got to be somewhat. Definitely. There's no way.
Really.
No, there are. Go ahead.
I would say that I don't see you that way at all. If anything, I would say you're more negative towards yourself than positive.
I am, and I'm sure there's, like, a disorder for whatever it is. Because we've thought, like, I don't think it's come up on this show, or if it has, we'll reiterate it. Like, we've talked about, like, anxiety, depression, like all that stuff. So I definitely have, like, some self-criticism that may be out of line in some cases. You know, like they always say, like, you are your own worst critic. And that's definitely true, or at least for me. But there are things where it's like, and again, I'm not usually very vocal about it. I'm probably just thinking it in my mind. But once in a while, they'll be like, yeah, I'm definitely the right person for this, because everyone else is going to screw this up, kind of thing. Now, generally, it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm not doing anything special. Like, I would say, like, 85, 90% of the time, that's it. Once in a while, though, there'll be something where it's like, I'm going to make sure that I'm involved in this because I'm the person who needs to be doing it.
So somewhat, then.
Yeah, so definitely somewhat. Like, if there was another option that was, like, once in a while, I would go with that one. But yeah. So if you ever see a situation and I'm, like, uncharacteristically trying to insert myself to being in control, and you're like, well, that seems really weird that he would want to be in charge of something, it's because I feel that strongly about it. Like,
gotcha.
It's not, you're not going to see it a lot.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So here's the next question. I do whatever I feel like doing, and I don't care what others think, or even if it's illegal, I'm going to do it. Not me. Describes me somewhat. It's definitely me.
I mean, there's somewhat. Like, but
somewhat? Okay.
Somewhat. There's stuff where it's like, oh, I don't care what people think. And then there's other things where it's like, yeah, better hold back on this one. But, like, that's more like, I'm not going to be like, well, you know what? I think this stop sign is a stupid idea, even though there's a bunch of kids in the way. I'm just going to keep going. Like,
yeah, so this question, I don't know, because you have to put some kind of
qualifier to
it, because because even if I disagree with something, I'm not going to hurt people to do it just because I want to do it.
I could see it more as I forget where I read this. It was a story about someone talking about they were involved with, like, dating, like, a rich person.
Yeah.
And there was a no parking sign. And they parked there. And they're like, well, you can't park there. And their response was like, well, yeah, you can. It just costs you $250 because you get, like, a ticket and a fine. But you can do it if you want. Like, you just
Yeah.
got to be willing to pay like the cost or whatever. So to me, like hearing that, it's like that is a crazy mentality. One, because I don't have $250 I can just throw around for a ticket, like in that
Sure.
situation. But to where it's just like, no, I'm just gonna do whatever and just pay for it. Like, I don't care. Like, it's my brain doesn't work that way. It's like,
Sure.
like when you see the people who park in handicap spots
Yeah.
that clearly aren't handicapped and they don't even have the
Yeah.
placard.
Yeah.
I have some issue with that. Or the people who will park real close to the store and take up like 4 spots.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
you're a maniac. Now, if you're parking like way out in the boonies, like far away from the store, and you're taking up 4 spots because you don't want somebody right on you,
Sure.
that's fine. You've also gone to the extra effort to not take like a good parking spot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I always like it when I see the people that they try to take up a bunch of spots and then people park like super close to them so they can't get in.
Sure.
I think they deserve that.
All right. So next question. Every person for themselves. I don't see the point in feeling sorry for other people. I have no desire to help others. Not me. This describes me somewhat. It's definitely me.
It's got to be somewhat. Like the reality of the execution is where it's like, but I still do it. Like, because there's times where it's like, why should this be on me, or why is this my problem? But then it's like, well, what's the right thing to do? Like, I've been feeding a fish at my work that somebody left behind, because once I knew the fish was there, I couldn't let it die. So now it becomes my job. I might have to go there on my day off to feed it because I forgot to feed it yesterday.
I see this problem a lot in like movies.
Yeah.
Like I was watching this movie last night, the new Chris Pratt TV show. I forget what it's called. But he tells these people, hey, do not do this. I'm going to kill you if you do this.
Right.
Do not do it. Or whatever he says in the show. And they ended up doing it. And I've seen this in other movies and TV shows, but this is just a recent one, that's all.
Yeah.
And the person ends up dying because he kills them because he tells them don't do it. They still
Right.
do it. I'm
Don't
like,
do it.
you know what?
You did it.
And so in my mind, in that situation, I'm just like, well, he warned you, still did it. That's on you.
Right.
So, I don't know. So I see that, man. I can see that mentality. Like, you kind of put yourself in that situation.
Yeah, there's definitely...
There's no empathy there, I guess.
There's definitely like and maybe that shows like psychopathic tendencies or something. I don't know. We'll find out from the test. But
Sure.
like, right or wrong, it's like once you're in a certain situation, it's like, well, the reality is out the window, and the current rules are this.
Sure.
Fair or not fair.
All right. So next one.
I like that the camera blurs out my drink as if I'm intentionally avoiding showing
Yes.
it. Sorry.
I've gotten into legal or criminal trouble when I was a teenager. Not small crimes like speeding tickets.
What about... So
Not me. This drives me.
I'm going to say... I have to say somewhat, because we were constantly getting hassled for skateboarding.
Gotcha.
Like that alone. One time I stole the letter V. You know those like yellow signs that have the letters?
Yeah. Oh.
So I stole the letter V off one of those. And man, that turned into a really big incident. Like, and then let's see. There was one time, do you remember? So people might be familiar with laser tag. Like, do you remember laser tag or Photon?
Yes.
So
Yes.
Photon was like the precursor to laser tag, I believe. And I had a Photon gun in my car. Now, keep in mind, it's about the size of like your arm. So it's not real. Like, you wouldn't think somebody would think it would real. I had a friend in the car. They like they were just like messing around with it. And
Being stupid as a kid.
yeah, we were like 16, 17, whatever. Well, old people saw it and thought I had, I don't know, like they thought it was a gun, But like looking at it, like no reasonable person would have thought that with the size of it. Like it was comically big, and yeah. So I had like that was real bad. I got in a lot of trouble for that one, justifiably.
But you was pointing at him in a malicious intent.
He might have been, and I just didn't notice. Like it's possible he was pointing.
You got in trouble? You got in trouble?
Well, it was in my car. So they got the license plate. They don't care who was in. They're just looking for the car. It was a big disaster. This is in the era before cell phones, so nobody could call me to tell me what was going on because it could have been cleared up with pretty easily. Like, hey, you need to go to the police station now. Show them what happened, and then all will be good.
Sure.
I mean, they might have been like, "Oh, you created a panic. This old lady thought you had like a bazooka."
Yeah.
Or something like that. So yeah, I definitely got in a little bit of trouble there.
So somewhat then, huh?
Yeah, somewhat.
Okay.
Like none of it was like I'm going to destroy I'm going to cut the head off the statue in the center of town.
Yes. So no Lex Luthor type ambition.
Yeah, like I wasn't like going out of my way. Like it was just like accidentally getting in trouble kind of stuff. I mean, obviously, I stole the letter off the sign intentionally. I did not know that it was going to become like a town-wide story.
All right, next question. I have no problem or concern in lying in order to get what I want. Not me, somewhat, definitely me.
No. Like, I don't think I would do that.
I agree. I don't see that issue.
I'm trying to think. I mean, if there has not been a situation yet in life that it seemed worthwhile enough.
Sure. Okay.
Now, unless we're counting like calling off work and being like, "Oh man, I can't make it today. I'm really sick."
I don't think they're considering that.
Because like if you're out there and you have never fibbed to call off work or get a day off,
yeah,
boxcartales@gmail.com. Please explain how you make it through life, because I just can't imagine not having. Not that I do it hardly ever, but once in a while, like, because jobs won't be like, "Oh, what, you just want to die? Yeah, you can have the day off."
Yes.
Like, "Oh, but you got a fever. Okay, that's different. That's more acceptable."
Are you ready?
Yes.
Live at the moment is what I say. The future will take care of itself. And learning from the past is pointless. Not me, somewhat. Definitely not.
I like that because until it adds the learning from the past is pointless.
Yeah.
I was on board with it, because the amount of times that I will do stuff and actually think to myself, well, future Ross is not going to be happy about this, but this is where we're going right now.
You know what? And I look forward to in the future of us talking about future selves.
Yes.
That's a great conversation.
I don't know. I assume that was on a show where they said that, where I picked that up, because I've been saying that for years, but it had to come.
I think it was. It's a Jerry Seinfeld skit.
Okay.
Because Seinfeld talks about it, where he talks about night Seinfeld versus morning Seinfeld. He's like, well, this is morning Seinfeld's problem.
Okay. Yes, I probably heard I would adapt. Like, there's no way I'm the only person who's ever thought of that, but.
Well, I mean, it's a great talking point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do it to ourselves all the time. But yeah, so I would have to say somewhat on that. The second part of the question I disagree with, but the first part of the question, absolutely.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, so get two more questions.
All right.
I never feel remorse, shame, or guilt about anything I say and do.
Whatever
not me, somewhat, definitely not me.
Whatever the strongest not me, I will do the thing where you lay awake at night. Uh-oh.
Ladies and gentlemen,
what, 5 minutes?
5-minute timer.
All right, well, we can wrap this up.
So I'll do the thing where like you lay awake at night and replay your worst hits, basically.
Gotcha. I understand.
All right.
I don't see the point in taking the responsibility for any kind. It just weighs you down. Not me. It describes me. Definitely not.
I mean, I got to say somewhat.
Okay.
Now, I see that more as a work issue. Like when I think of that, like at work, any job I've had, I've avoided or tried to avoid any kind of leadership roles because I will look around and be like, do I want to be in charge of this? No, I don't. Like, not enough money. So.
All right. So, get the results now. Are you ready?
I hope that it tells, like, I feel like I'm not a psychopath, but I hope the results are like, if you're in the room giving this to someone, make sure there's not an axe nearby.
So, it says you are not a psychopath. Your score is 7 out of 24.
So does it give, like, anything on, like, oh, you're kind of psychopathic, or...
So there is a scale. It says 0 out of 12. No, you're not a psychopath. 13 out of 17. You're a possible psychopath. 18 and plus, you're a psychopath. Very likely.
We should revisit this one day and try to come up with scenario, like, pick the absolute worst for each question, or a similar quiz. We pick the worst moments of our lives that give the worst answer, I guess.
Yeah.
And see how bad it would be. Like, if you just isolate, like, with no context.
Be to go ahead and print screen that, maybe. And I will.
That's going up on the fridge, not a psycho.
Look, honey, I passed.
I still have my. There was one job, like, speaking of awards. Do you remember the computer place we worked at where they would send out, like, the 3 and 5 year plaques or whatever? But they were just. It was really an index card in, like, a magnetic case.
Yes.
Well, when my case came, it didn't have the award in it. So it was just, they basically just were like, here's a plastic case. And one of the guys at the department I was in made like a random award for me that was like most enthusiastic about Wednesdays. So put that in it.
Sure.
It was pretty funny. Because I like opened it and I was like looking for it and I was like, I think they just sent me an empty case. Do I have to print, like, I was looking for instructions for like a link where I had to print out my own.
How to print out your own reward.
Yeah, if I would have told you that was there though, knowing that place that we were working, you would believe that.
Yes.
I'd be like,
yes, I 100% would.
Like, I'm a little bit surprised, but not really. Like,
well, if you want it, you would really print it out, right? We gave you the plaque. What more do you want?
Be like, no, you're not allowed to use company equipment to print that. That's got to be at home, and we expect you to put it on cardstock so that it's nice.
Yes.
Like, you guys have actually surprised me with how bad that is.
So, did you like the I mean,
I feel like they were very bland questions.
Yeah, I don't think like questions like do you like hurting people physically? I mean,
like, when you watch American Psycho, who do you empathize with in that?
Onboarding will begin in 1 minute.
So we are winding down. So the one thing I want to make sure, we mentioned it a minute ago, but yeah, if you want to get a hold of us for right now, we got boxcartales@gmail.com. That's the only thing we're going to push on you currently.
Yes, but we're going to push more.
But in the future, some point in the future, this last minute is going to be us just probably where you end the podcast is honestly what will probably happen. It's like, oh, it's the shill period. But for now, that's not this. It would be interesting to take a look at that quiz and then try to build our own. Yeah. Like, I don't know if that's something we would do like as a podcast because I have no idea how long that would take, but something to think about. Be like, let's get a better one that's more specific, because I'm guessing they were just like, well, what are the typical characteristics? Okay, how do we ask that? And how many questions were there? Like 8, 7?
Yeah, it was like there was like 11.
Okay, so still not too bad. All right, well, see you guys in the future.
Yes.